been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
We want to thank RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding for sponsoring this video.
I mean, it's just an exceptional mattress. Now, we've got a king-size mattress. You know, we started in an RV. Now, we moved into a home, but eventually we'll get back into an RV, I'm sure. And, of course, we're going to grab an RV mattress. But they have a newer mattress out that's even bigger than this one, that's a little bit heavier. But the thing is I know when we first ordered our first mattress, it was a little bit too big and too heavy, but that Titan seems pretty interesting. I'm going to have to check that out. They offer free shipping, and they're relatively quick. You know, this all comes out of Arizona. And the thing is, they have their own, manufacturing process. You're not buying from somebody that, is placing an order for it to come in from, somewhere else. It's being manufactured. And it's all Arizona. It's an Arizona manufacturing plant. Now, what you get with that is being able to dial in, obviously, your desired needs as far as too hot, too cold, taller, shorter, whatever. And you get not only a great, comfortable sleep mattress, but 120-night sleep trial. That's 4 months. You get free shipping. Come on, free shipping. These things are heavy. Wait till you order a king size, one of the bigger ones. It's pretty heavy, but nonetheless, it is delivered for free. But more importantly, use this code Daydream. You're going to go to rvmattress.com/daydream. Type that in. Then once you're in there and you do your checkout using Daydream, you get an exclusive 30% off your entire order. No matter what you're ordering. They have toppers, they have pillows, they have all kinds of stuff. So use the code Daydream and you're going to get not only a great mattress, you're going to get free shipping, and you're going to get a limited lifetime warranty. That's crazy, right? And 30% off. Back to the video.
Well, we got a lot to talk about today, and it's just typical of what you can expect when you deal with RVs and used RVs. Heidi has a saying, when you buy a used car, when you buy a used RV, you're just buying somebody else's problems. And that's not always the case. And it's kind of a cynical way to look at it. I think she's hopeful. I think that she hopes to find that that's not true, and that actually things go a little bit better than what you expect. But in the case of the RV here, we did have a little bit of a disagreement with the previous owner. Now, he's a nice guy. I want to truly 100% believe that what he's saying is honest, and I know that I had a lot of people on our channel already, calling for his head, like, oh yeah, he's seen you coming. That was, you got taken, and I don't want to think that. One, just because of being humans, and being a product of somebody who grew up in the 70s and 80s, that's an ego thing. At some point that attacks your ego, and you start thinking, well, I don't like that I am being basically defined as a person who is easily snookered. And in the case of the previous owner, he thinks that I might be trying to take advantage of him in what I'm telling him, because he honestly says repeatedly over and over again, hey, I didn't know that this damage was there. I would have told you. Well, Heidi keeps on bringing up one point, and this is what you guys have said also, is I gave you the reasoning that he had for these two heavy ceramic tiles being placed inside the RV. And that was, he had an elderly dog that unfortunately had passed, and he had to put him down. He had to put the dog down. It's nice and warm in here because I have a little furnace running, trying to dry this out. And he had those two ceramic tiles in the back. And what he said is he placed them there for his dog bowl, for the dishes. I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, when it comes right down to it, when you just place a towel, for absorption of any water that might come up, I mean, a towel's easily removed. Same with the food, you could gather it up with the towel and shake it out. The tiles just, they're an extension of what's already there, and that's a waterproof surface. Water's not going to stain the floor, and the food can be swept up relatively easy. So if you're putting tile down, the water will just run off the tile in between the cracks and then underneath the tile and make it even more difficult to clean up whatever may happen. But that's what he had said, and it just so happens that when I removed the tiles, because you seen them out in the driveway, I don't need them. I don't have a reason for them to be there. It exposed a hole. And I mean, it is a substantial dent that's going on here. But yeah, this is all gone. This is all gone. And it carries over that way, this way and this way quite a bit. Although it seems to sure up slightly, it's still, this movement is not natural. When we looked at the RV initially, I did what everybody else does. Most people think, oh, the leaks, the roof is leaking and it's coming down. Well, I can't find any water intrusion necessarily on this side. Now, I haven't looked a lot because I can't really walk back there. I mean, I can kind of get around the corner here. The floor gets a little bit softer though. And yeah, the wall's just the wall. It's just the, on these RVs, like I said, they're not like the Rockwoods. The Rockwood is a premium unit that they laminate the walls. And you've seen that in my previous videos of how nice it is the way they build these. I mean, this slide, I mean, that is solid. I'm hitting that with pretty good force. And same with the underside. It's all solid. Same with the roof on the slide. I mean, it's same with this little slide. I mean, it's just solid. It's like a rock. Not only just the inside and the main structure, but I'm talking about the slide. There's not very many roofs. I'm not hitting that light. I have relatively big, fumbly hands, and come on now. Seriously. That is some serious roof there. I can take this wall here and I can hammer on it just as hard as I did that roof. And it's all built strong. This thing is a strong laminate box. And that's because they laminate their walls with a heavy fiberglass. Whereas this is just paneling over studs, wood sticks, and there's batten insulation in there. But this whole corner's all rotted. I mean, it's rotten really bad. So there was some discussion because initially we tried to be gentle about it, I guess you could say, and thought we'd reach out first and let them know, hey, this thing's damaged. And you actually, had said that there's not a mark inside, which technically, I mean, you don't see a mark, but the floor being missing underneath the facade of what is the floor there, that kind of constitutes something even worse than a mark. I'd rather have seen a scratch on the floor. And like I said, there was some discussion back and forth about him thinking that I was trying to take advantage of him by overinflating a repair. So you guys realize that there's trusses that run from one side of the trailer to the other, and they're spaced accordingly. The last truss on this RV is right about where my hands is showing here. It's signified by this movement here. So there's a truss that runs from this side of the RV over to this side of the RV, maybe a little bit more this way. It could be closer to this right here. And that truss supports the water tank, the main freshwater tank that's underneath here, which I took a look. There's like mold in there. I'm going to have to really blast that out and get that cleaned out. But anyways, The floor is pretty solid from what I can tell, right here, and maybe even to here at the most. But I'll say right to here somewhere. Since that's solid, it spans over, the wood from the factory when they build it. It's one big piece of plywood. Instead of them putting a whole bunch of little pieces of plywood, they put one giant piece of plywood. Well, part of that plywood is rotted. This part there in the corner, here definitely, and then over here going into the corner. For me to replace that, I can't just stick a piece of plywood in there. It needs a support to hold it at the joint, because if I cut the plywood, it's going to have to make it, to where it has a support, and it no longer has that support whenever I'm cutting it in the middle. So I'm going to have to re-engineer some sort of a support across this way, or maybe a couple of supports this direction that span from this last support going, we'll call this east-west, and then I'll make a couple north-south supports to hold whatever wood and, the support that is lost there. But yeah, there was some confusion that, he talked with the StarCraft dealer that was local to him, and they said I guess this might be an issue that is a common repair on older, units, which I agree. It could happen, and I have no doubt that it's happened in the past. And they said that it's probably about $300 worth of materials. Well, I don't know. I mean, you got to figure we still got to do all the wall treatment. But, in wood, I mean, I've got to find the right plywood. You guys remember when I did the floor of the StarCraft travel trailer? That plywood had to be a special thickness because pop-ups are dependent on that. They can't be too tall, can't be too short, or the fully extended, roof won't stretch or will overstretch the pop-up canvas. That's not as important here, but I do want to make sure that I get something that is sturdy, solid, and will hold up as, it's being implemented as a replacement, not so much as a build, a standard build. And so we got a piece, I'm assuming at least one piece of plywood that's a 4x8 sheet of plywood. As this RV is 8 foot wide, that's what means that plywood's only going to come over 4 feet. So hopefully I don't have to do much more than that. Hopefully I don't have to go 4 feet, but I do have to go under the wall. I do have to replace whatever stud damage that might be in here. If the paneling is just gone, that is in these corners, which the corner should have, there should be studs, especially in the corner, there should be 2 studs. And if the paneling is it's all deteriorated behind this wallpaper, I guess we could call this. It's kind of, this wallpaper is sort of special. It's also a vapor barrier for people being inside, breathing, exhaling, and the outside being cold. The insulation isn't a huge R value. So it has to be moisture resistant on the inside. So it's kind of like a shelf paper. It's a vinyl. It's not really a standard wallpaper. So what I need to do is I have to, peel that away. We then have to make it all look uniform. I can't just put in, a white. I guess we could do some sort of whatever they call that. Not shiplap, but batten. Wainscoting. We could maybe do something like that on the back wall, but I don't think we could do it on the side wall. It wouldn't look right unless this side wall had the same. And I don't know, maybe we could do that. It's hard telling, but I mean, it just brings in a lot of other factors of repair and making it look right. And that's where you start running into cost. And then of course, labor. I mean, instead of me, prepping this for some upgrades, maybe building out on the back of the RV like I did before and have a generator system back there. Instead of maybe putting solar panel on the roof, making this a solar system, solar sustainable, replacing the converter, which I'm not sure what's going on, but you can hear the fan. I don't know if I need to replace that converter because I've never had one that ran a fan as soon as you turn on lights inside the RV. Now, the battery was very, 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 very weak that I was given with the RV. I'm happy to have it. I eventually, would like to go to lithium ion because you can run longer on it. And I've always had dual batteries, and they have to be matched, obviously. But nonetheless, even with a battery that's very, very, very weak, it's been hooked up now for well over 24 hours. And yet I can't unplug this unit and run these lights. There's something going on there, and I don't know what that is yet. It's as if the inverter is not working, or it can only run on the inverter, and the battery power is not being applied to all these lights that are inside here. That's the one thing that you should know about 12-volt systems versus the AC system in an RV. All these lights are 12-volt bulbs. Every light you see, that one there, this one here, that one there. Of course, this one here, the one in the bathroom, these two lights, and then the one in the bedroom. The bathroom has a skylight, but it does have a separate light also. And it does not have any kind of a fan, which is kind of funny. I don't think that I've ever seen an RV that just has a standard vent with no fan whatsoever. We'll have to do that as an upgrade too. But in getting back to what I was saying, the AC portion of this is working, but the battery supplying the DC voltage when it's unplugged isn't working. So instead of doing upgrades, and doing projects that, better the unit overall and make it a little bit more personable for us and give you guys content, we're kind of destined to spend most of the beginning of the camping season making a repair, making a full-blown repair. So there's that. And whenever I discussed it with him, he kind of felt as if I was trying to take advantage of it. I'm not. So this is what I want you guys to do. Again, I'm not exaggerating at all when I say that the wood needs repaired underneath the floor from this point, at least this point, maybe even more, back. This wall needs repaired at least up until maybe here. I don't know, maybe more. Well, that's weak. It feels okay. So we'll just say from here to the corner, from here to the floor, and then this corner it's quite a bit of the corner right there, all this going down. So all that needs repaired. And of course, the outside, the trim where it's coming out, I got to take all that off. And I have to repair any trusses that have been damaged that are there. And of course, we have mold remediation, which I'm kind of attempting with this little heater here to dry it all out. But that's all moldy. That's all, rotted out. And I don't know what kind of board that's the back wall has, but I'm sure that needs replaced because it's like a wave. Everything's wavy here. All the staples are rusted all along here, telling me that whatever they're stapled into, they've transferred that water through the staple. Again, this is stuff we've seen before on our old travel trailer. So tell me what you guys think that would cost. If you just dropped it off at a shop and said, can you guys knock this out and get this repaired? First of all, how long do you think they would have your RV for? I want you to comment these things in the comments, please. Tell me how long you think the shop would have the RV to make the repair. And tell me how much you think they would charge to return the RV to you completely repaired. That's basically it. So how long would the RV be out of my, possession total to have it repaired, and how much would it cost, parts and labor. And then I will tell you what we came to a conclusion of, and you can tell me if what I did was fair, and what he did was fair. I mean, he was willing to work, with us. It's just, I think that he believed that we were trying to, I don't know. I really don't know. But I mean, at some point in time, you got to think, well, my time and effort on just the repair alone, but just the hassle of having to deal with it and not being able to camp, not being able to travel with this summer. Good thing I'm not paying for storage, because then it would just sit in storage until the shop had time for me to actually work on it, for them to let me bring it in to work on it. I mean, there's just a lot of little stuff there that I think should be recognized. And I think this is all I want to talk about on this. I'll give you an update with, the final say on what happens. But I will give you guys one good thing you get an update on. You'll get to see a project. And hopefully I can document it to a point in which you can see what work is involved, and you can decide if you're willing to buy a project RV based on that. Now, when we replaced the roof on our old travel trailer, when we first started this channel up, that travel trailer roof, I said, all along, I would have never done all that work on the roof if the floor had been damaged, because doing a floor is pretty rough. Doing a roof is really rough because you're outside and you're on top the whole time, and you got to keep it dry up, in between days off of you doing your repair. It's not like you can repair the whole roof in just one day. And I'm talking about, we rebuilt trusses and put on all new wood and had to put up all of the air conditioner and vents and everything else. But in this case, it's kind of the same thing. This sidewall business, it starts to get into, my general rule would be, hey, needing to replace part of the floor, okay. Needing to replace part of the floor and part of the wall, that's a little questionable. And if I found out that the roof was bad, forget it. That's way too much work. You're rebuilding a box basically at that point. So hopefully we can rebuild this. And of course, you guys always know that whenever I put it back together, it's better than what it was originally. So it will definitely be substantially strong, not overweight. You guys got to make sure that you don't go too heavy on your stuff, especially on the tail end of your RV, because you don't want that weight to come off the tongue. The tongue has to have a certain percentage of weight while you travel, and you don't want to, make that any less. Well, the fact that I'll be putting potentially some sort of a storage system on the back of the RV, I've got to be aware of how heavy the front is. So that's all being taken in consideration. And of course, that means that I can't put like wood plank floor in here. And that's what a lot of people do. I'll be honest. That's what you see a lot of these RVs that are for sale on Facebook Marketplace. And they say, I put in all new wood paneled floor. The reason they did that is they just want to cover up stuff like this. They don't want to address it. They want to just cover it up. They want to be able to use it. And that's not the right answer. Even if you repair the leak, you still have structure that is missing. And you don't want that on something that is, a stick and tin box going down the road. And like the old, saying is, these things are, you're pulling a home through a tornado during an earthquake. That's what RVs are. You're shaking it like it's an earthquake, and the winds that you're exposing them to is like a tornado. So that's it for now. I've got some cameras in here for safety reasons. I don't want to have anything that, this furnace may get a little too hot potentially in here, cause any kind of a problem. Everything's pretty good right now. It's just, I want to dry it out. And it's relatively warm in here. I don't think that I would want to run the furnace necessarily in here, just for the fact that, that uses propane. That uses, electricity is plugged in, and, we're already paying for that. So I'd rather do that. But yeah, still overall, listen, this is a great little RV. This is really nice. And I can always look, to be on the positive light of things. For you guys, you get to, for the people that like to hear me rant, I get to rant. So you got to hear that. For you guys that like to watch us for RVing content more than reviews and stuff, this is it. This is part of having an RV. For you guys that love projects and seeing people finish and do and work on projects, guess what? You got a project coming. You get to see me do a project. So all those things are positives in my mind. It gives me some content and gives you guys something to see, quite a bit of our audience. But yeah, I still like the idea that this is so small that Heidi and I will be able to just, go traveling, go and stop for the night where we want to. Once we have that generator set up, we could extended stay, where there's not hookups. This does have a rather large freshwater tank, although it's near the rear. I don't care for that part, but it's nice to know that we have some water that we can carry with us. I think this is like a 40-gallon freshwater tank, maybe a little bit more. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a 48. We've used, our old travel trailer had 50, and then our other travel trailer had 50, and then our fifth wheel had 60. So that's comparable to what we had before. As far as the holding tanks, they're a little small. The fresh and the gray, I think, are 36 each. We're used to having at least 45. So that's not a big deal. We found out that, extended stays don't really require that much holding water for black water and gray water. So I could have avoided all this trouble, I'll be honest with you, by just picking up these tiles whenever I was looking at the RV. So again, there's part of me that just feels horrible that I was not smart enough to just do the thing that I wanted to do, and that was pick up those tiles. Because as soon as I would have picked up one tile, there was water laying underneath of it. And that point in time, I would have felt the hole, and everything would have been different. I mean, quite honestly, we would have continued shopping. I don't know. Like I said, lesson learned, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel angry about it. I don't hold the seller responsible. I mean, I'm taking, face value that he really didn't know, and he's really, wanting to help out. And I'm glad of that. I appreciate that. I mean, that's what being human is, hey, there was a mistake made. Wasn't necessarily your fault, wasn't necessarily my fault, but we both could come to the conclusion that this RV, when it, be valued at what we paid for it, if those faults would have been known during the transaction. And again, I'm willing to eat a little bit of that, because even with the amount that we were discussing that he would refund me, basically, that I paid him for the unit, I still would have walked away from this unit knowing that it needed those repairs. This unit would have had to been at least $4,000 less for me to buy it, needing those repairs. And I wasn't really looking for a project. I'm glad that I did for you, got one for you guys, but we were just looking to camp. We were just looking to go explore, but we'll get there. It'll just take a little bit longer.
Well, this is a little bit different than what you guys are used to seeing. And I did want to give you an update of what's going on. And that was when I did all that running around for the BMV and getting my tags and title and all that stuff. I work from home, and I'm amongst people very little. Well, whatever interaction I had at the BMV, there was a lot of people, and there was people that were in there that were sick, and I got it. This is my third day of being sick, so this is sad. So let's just cut this. Go back to something more cheery. Well, it was still lingering This one's a tough one. This cold has been hanging on a lot. Luckily, Heidi hasn't got it. I don't care how sick I am, but I hate it whenever she gets ill. Hey, I'll get back to normal here shortly. I don't know when, though. Good morning, YouTube. Not morning. It's 3:30 in the afternoon, and I just got up. Man, my sleep and everything's messed up real bad, but I thought I'd check in with you guys. The cold is slowly going away, so I'm slowly feeling better. It's 67 degrees outside. Oh my God, my eyes hurt. Come on, sunglasses, get dark. This is the worst I felt in some amount of time. Well, actually, a couple days ago was. But I wanted to come outside and give you a bit of an update as things are actually happening. So let me turn you around and do just that. One of the things that we talked about years ago was an app that we use. Well, I really like this truck. And that app is, doesn't it look funny? Doesn't that spring look funny? See the shackle there? It looks like it needs another spring, don't it? Looks like there's a spring missing. Huh, that's kind of funny. And there's no overload thing. I mean, there's a bump stop. Huh, it definitely needs new shocks. Well, maybe. But it's just a beautiful day out. It's supposed to thunderstorm. But remember the app that I talked about? That you use your phone as a camera anywhere. Well, we still use that. I think I paid $29 for a year. Although the app's free, I paid $29 for a year for high definition and a bunch of other stuff. And I've been doing that since 2014 maybe. It wasn't that much back then, but wow, I can't believe the weatherman said something about, yeah, everybody's going to need to start mowing their lawns, and he's not lying. My mower's not even close to ready. All right, well, anyways, I've got a phone in here that I'm doing just that. I'm using the phone as a, wow, is it hot in here? Oh my God. Wonder what the thermostat says in here. Is it behind me? Yeah. I don't even see the little needle in there. I'm going to have to replace that. It's hot in here. I've got this little furnace on because I wanted to dry it out. And, boy, is it doing just that. Let's go ahead and turn this thing down because it definitely dried it out. I don't know about, didn't kill the mold or anything. Yeah, I'm going to have to, I hate when I do that. This thing's got to balance just right, or it just wants to. There we go. Yikes. Yeah, it's definitely drying it out in here. I turned this down quite a bit. Hopefully it's not an issue. But my problem is the phone charger here. This is the phone that I use for the app. I like it because I can make, I can view either this camera on this side facing this way, which is just into the cabinets. Or I can use it, facing out as I'm normally. Or I can turn on the flashlight. There's a siren that's built in. Anyways, that's what I've been doing to keep an eye on this since the last time I was in this. I don't even remember, to tell you the truth. But we definitely need to address this relatively soon. As camping season gets moving really quick, and unfortunately in Ohio it's really short. I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of times camping season stops October at the beginning. Some places stay open for Halloween, but
some places close at the, like October 15th, that don't want to stay open for Halloween or anything. Or they have limited, they have limited openings until then. So anyways, so I need to get to work on this, but I'm just whipped. I'm out of it. I don't know what else to say. So what I came out here to do is that, unfortunately, that charger is from an S9 Plus. It's an old charger from a long time ago. And I need to bring out a better charger. And something that's got a little bit more power, because my phone, after many days, is down to 43%. I was getting warnings saying that your charge wasn't good enough. So let me change that around, make sure that works. Okay, so that's all set up. It's got the higher power charger in there. I think it'll be fine. And hopefully things continue to go in the direction that they are. I am going to do one thing here. Since I've already kind of started taking stuff apart, at some point I'm going to move things over here out of the way. I got to do some troubleshooting, I think, on the battery. Some reason I think the battery is still not charged. And I remember there always being gauges. There we go. Is that the... Yeah, this should tell me the state of charge for the battery, right? Let's see here. Yeah, battery. Yeah, see, it says full, but it is plugged in. Water pump working. Fresh tank, empty. Black tank, a third. Gray tank, empty. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Let's hope not, because it says the black. Ooh, guess I should have watched the wind there. The other thing I want to do, if you guys don't know, which this guy did not know, sorry about the lighting. Let me see if I can fix this for you. All right, there we go. Had to take it off of the shady part of things, the shaky thing. This guy didn't know that you can do this with your refrigerator. See these little knobs right here that I'm pushing? It pushes out a little thing. Well, there's a place for that to go into right here. And what that does is allow you to keep your refrigerator ajar. I don't know how else to describe it. See how it's locked in there? So you can travel with it this way with nothing in it and it not being on, and it allows it to air out. I mean, you could leave it out all the way, but in this case, I do want to do it kind of. There we go. Yeah, it's almost all the refrigerators has a mode that allows it to jar it. Now, the Rockwood had these little things that slid in there that did this for you, but this is all that's needed. There's a break in the seam that allows that. That's the way it should be for storage, but of course, this guy didn't know that. Yeah, I had a dream last night that I don't know if it was last night or not. It's cold. I've been sleeping all the time. And anyways, during this dream, Heidi and I had come out into the RV. It was raining, and there was water dropping from this. I don't see any indication of that, but boy, that was scary in the dream. It's almost a nightmare. I thought, man, I'm going to have to tear apart the ceiling. Now I'm going to take a look at the bathroom, because I did have this vent open. I don't like this at all. I got to fix this trim. It's one of the things that when they build these things with particle board, the particle board, that water, it sits on the edge and goes inside the board and the wood, and it doesn't want to seal. But anyways, I have this vent ever so slightly open. I want to make sure when it rained the other day that it wasn't a problem. It doesn't look like that it was. Oh, looks like they left me a little light. I don't know what this is. It looks like it's a light of some kind. It runs on 3 AA batteries. That's kind of cool. Maybe we'll work with that. But yeah, there's a few things that I'd like to improve in here. As far as the shower goes, there's got to be light in there. There's just no light right now.
I'd love to run the fan on the air conditioner. I wonder if that would work. I forgot what it's like. You don't have a thermostat on the wall. I don't even know who makes this refrigerator, or this. I don't know what brand this is. Let's see here. Low fan. Oh my. That's a noisy bastard, isn't it? Oh, it got quieter. Man, this thing moves some air, though. I have to say that. Oh, there we are. It is. It says Coleman Walk. I don't know which version it is, though. I got to go through the manuals, which while I'm out here, I think he said he has some manuals out here somewhere. I don't know where. Let's see what this is. It says some kind of tablecloth. Yeah, tablecloth. I think he said there's a bunch of papers in here somewhere. Oh yeah, there we go. Said a whole bunch of manuals and papers, which, man, there's a ton, right? Look at them all. They're not wet. See, this is the thing that I was mistaken whenever I bought this unit. I immediately thought that if there's any leaks that are going to be happening, they would be on the roof. So I went to the corners and I opened this up, and I mean, I pressed in those corners and I didn't punch it, but I mean, I pushed really hard, and there was no indication whatsoever of leaks. Same with this side. None at all. I never thought that it would start leaking halfway down the wall. So that was my bad. Yeah, I got some work to do. So Heidi is joining in the festivities because I'm slowly coming out of it. But boy, Heidi got it pretty good too.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what Heidi did today.
Nothing.
No. She did something huge. It was incredibly big. She called off work. Can you believe it? I'm going to have to say that I only remember her calling off work being sick. Like, she got up, had full intentions going to work. She felt so bad. I think this is the second time that she called off work. And I called her off one time because she had diverticulitis. She was horrible. And I told her, I said, I'll call you off. I got to call you off. We got to go to the hospital. She did. But yeah, this is the second time that I know that she actually called off work because she was sick. In 25 years of working.
Yeah.
So anyways, whatever this stupid cold is, let me just tell you what we've experienced.
Stupid.
You guys know, I kind of start feeling like I got something coming on. About 24 hours, you've got that feeling. You have something. The thing is it's not horrible, but it's annoying. You got a cough, you got a sneeze, you're blowing your nose. And then I think it's the next day after that, it starts to come on pretty strong. And then there's one more day, and that's today. It's just, you just want somebody to turn off your power and reset you in like a day.
Oh, like yesterday, it was my eyes and sneezing.
All right. So it's just
Awful.
And so overall, it should take you about a week to get over this entire, because I've had it now for a week. And I'm coming out, like yesterday, I went outside, I moved some stuff around, I straightened out in the garage. Don't get me wrong, I was kind of tired right after that, but So Heidi, she's just about your third day in it.
Yeah.
So we'll update you whenever she's a little better, and hopefully when I'm a little better, I can start tearing apart that RV out there. Start putting up all that stuff I talked about the other day. All right, that's it. Say bye to everybody.
Bye.
Good morning, YouTube. Ooh, it's a little bit windy. We got storms that'll be rolling in a little bit later today. Expected. However, what's not expected, I gotta put this carpet it's all cattywampus. Is that a word, cattywampus? I've heard that before. Oi. But is the warmth. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. How about that? So there's a bunch of stuff that I wanted to update you on. Still sick. Heidi's still sick. She went to work today. But we're better than we were yesterday, that's for sure. A lot of you have given us your thoughts about what I was talking about as far as house improvements and about building a bigger deck here. The whole reason that we want to do more back here is it's a little tight going in and out of the house, but more importantly, we kind of need some sort of an area that becomes more of a mudroom. I don't know how to describe it. Right now, you come up off of this ground, which dirt, whatever, builds up. The steps, you wipe your feet, you go in, and you're immediately in the entrance to the kitchen. And our kitchen floor is just getting destroyed from all the traffic because this is like the main entrance. Again, I would love to change that, but it's not really going to happen because of, the garage being right here. This is kind of the thing. I don't know how else to describe it. We're not necessarily going to all of a sudden redirect all our traffic through the front door. I don't think we can make that possible. Anything's possible, but convenience is still plays a part. We got a lot of people that have commented, and if you're one of them, thanks, appreciate it. And they're like, yeah, and close that front porch, make it, 4 season, 3 season, whatever. We have 2 big things that we got to be concerned with when we enclose the front porch. The first is we want to make sure that it is tasteful and it definitely changes the look of this house. Because right now, and Heidi and I's discussed it, and you guys can discuss it amongst yourselves, how in the world is spindles, round spindles, and I mean, this looks like farmhouse. That's what this reminds me of, farmhouse. This ain't a farmhouse. It's not, it doesn't, there's nothing that even resembles a farmhouse. This would be like putting, which something I don't believe in, wagon wheels out, in the, this isn't farm country. There are farms here, but where we used to live in Columbiana, that was farm country. I mean, we had tractors going by the house every day. I mean, all the kids drive their tractors to school one day. I mean, it's a farm community. There's FFA signs everywhere. I mean, it's 4-H is a big thing. This isn't quite that much of a farm community, and especially even in farm communities, you have certain areas that just don't look like farm communities. Well, that's what this is. This is just rural residential. So this is wrong. This whole motif or whatever they got going on is wrong, and it's been wrong for a long time. So we definitely need to make sure whatever we put up here makes this really stand out and appear to be more appropriate or even modernizing this older brick home. We also have to do the siding. We understand that. Heidi and I talked about that in length. We're just trying to figure out what we want to do. But enclosing the front porch is definitely something we'd like to do. But man, I can't believe how much they charge for that. And I don't want to, if this was our old house, like we lived in Beloit, I would enclose it myself. It would be cheap, 2x4 screen,
you know, some kind of cheap sliding window maybe, but no way. There's no way I can do that. So back to the yard. Look at, it's funny because the news guy, or weather guy I should say, he's pretty decent. And he said something to the effect of, hey, you guys, Sunday, that's last Sunday, if you're looking to mow your yard, it's probably going to be the best day to do it. And I thought, yeah, we don't need to mow the yard yet. I'm telling you, wow. Just wow, right? It's still very wet. But, you know, this is the battle that you run into in Northeast Ohio in the springtime. It's not going to dry out as long as the grass is long and tall, because the sun that is coming out isn't enough necessarily to dry it out. Now, my head's been really foggy for the last few days, and I had a dream the other day that was, you know how you guys, you know, people have dreams where they are naked in front of an audience or something. Well, the other day I had a dream that, and you guys are going to laugh at this. Let me turn it around. So I had a dream that I did something on camera and I didn't edit it out. There's times I've made mistakes in editing, plenty of them, and I've left stuff in and I'm like, I thought I took that out. So in my dream, I remember uploading a video, going to bed, and waking up the next day, doing some work around the house, and thought, I'm going to look at this video. And there was a section, which I've never done this before, and I thought it was funny, that I set down the camera and I thought, well, I'll just blur this out. It'll be, you know, it'll be funny if I just blur out, pixelate the stuff that I don't want to be seen. And I set my camera down, the phone down, and I turned to the camera and I went over and I pulled down my pants and I was using a urinal in the bathroom. And there I sat with my pants, which I don't even use a urinal that way, but in the dream, I had my pants like down to my knees and my butt hanging out. And again, in my dream, I was like, oh my word, I gotta hurry up. I can't believe YouTube didn't flag this. I've gotta hurry up and fix it. Because then I was like, well, did I unzip my pants and drop them before I turned? I couldn't remember, but anyways, I had that dream. I had that dream where I was naked in front of an audience. And we have so many projects coming up. Guys, bear with us. Heidi and I have discussed this, and it's hard to get out of this. We're deadlocked in this. You know, I mean, this is the section that you don't want to skip over on this video. Just to give you a little insight, at least I think it's important. It's important to us. When we first started YouTube, it was with my other channel, and, you know, I didn't expect anything out of it. And I've always said that when you have extra income, be careful before you decide, and do a lot of, you know, due diligence before you decide that's going to be required income, something that you actually depend on. And when I first started YouTube, I had, you know, another job. I had a small engine shop, and the money that was coming in from YouTube was just extraneous. It's like, oh, nice bonus, you know, that came in once a month. And then Amazon affiliates was even nicer of a bonus coming in. And then at some point, it was a big decision for me to close my small engine shop and then start doing YouTube videos exclusively. But it was going so well, so well, so fast. And I'll be perfectly transparent about this. When I decided to close down my shop and to start doing videos full time, it was okay as far as the money. I think at that time, and I'm going back to when I first started closing the shop, it was right around the time we got our travel trailer, and we were repairing the roof.
It was before this channel started. Definitely before this channel started. So we were repairing the roof on the travel trailer. And at that point in time, I was bringing in an extra, or I should say, since I closed my shop, my income was about $2,200 a month. Not a lot of money, but we didn't have hardly any bills. And our house, was pretty much paid for. We didn't owe that much on it. Heidi was working, her same job as she always was. So the money that we had coming in from the small engine shop, I was raking it in there during the summer, but in the winter, it'd get pretty slow. So that $2,400 a month was working out just fine. And we were doing okay. When we started our, this channel then, and we decided we were going to go full-time RVing, we were doing, at the peak of our channel and Amazon affiliates, having both channels going at the same time in full force, before Bezos got divorced and took a lot more of the percentage of affiliates. These affiliate accounts, if you guys don't know how it works, every time I say, hey, down in the link in the description, use that link to purchase whatever I'm talking about, and we'll get some sort of kickback. Doesn't cost you anything extra. It just gives us a kickback on it. Well, with a lot of these bike reviews, I'll do the links because you guys may get a discount from the company, and we may get possibly a commission from the sale. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't depend on any of that because these commissions are a joke. These bikes that we do reviews on, half the people you got to, for example, one of the bikes that I did a review on recently, I went in and I seen that I got an email that said, hey, you got a new commission. And I'm thinking, I don't remember last time we got paid from this company. And I went back and we haven't been paid for 5 months, right? And there's a amount that's there. And here's the other thing. Where I go to see that, there's like 5 different main sites that everybody uses to pay their commissions. And then there's a whole bunch of companies that have their own way of paying commissions outright themselves without using any sites that I can't track. So you can imagine whenever I'm dealing with all this crap, there's 7, 8 different sites, 9 different sites, 10 different sites that I have to go to. And then each one of those sites, I may have 4 or 5 vendors that are on that site. And to go in and look all that up and try to keep everybody on their toes. But this one in particular hadn't paid us for about 5 months, maybe 6 months even. Let me see, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, sorry, 7 months. They haven't paid for 7 months. And I said, hey, the last time I needed, the last time my commission was paid, I had to email you and ask you to pay me. Can that just happen once a month automatically? Oh yeah, from now on so that's why I didn't really look at them. And the thing is sometimes the pay goes to an account that I don't really look at. Well, I called them up the other day and I said, I shouldn't say called them up, I sent them an email and said, hey, I didn't get my commission for the last 7 months. And the kind of replies you get are just crazy. Like this one said, oh yeah, so sorry, we'll go ahead and send that out, but just be aware that we send out on the 25th of each month. Okay, it's the 15th at the time I'm doing this, that I'm communicating with them. I'm like, all right, so why didn't you pay it out last month on the 25th? Okay, thanks a lot. Oh, so what you need to do then is contact us again on the 25th for us to do this. I'm telling you, it's just that. Just imagine that times every review that I've done. That's basically what it is. I only have I have 2 companies, 3 companies. Out of all the reviews that we've done, I have 3 companies that we don't have to send in a bill. We don't have to communicate with. We don't have to do anything. We just get a commission check once a month, once a quarter. Usually once a quarter, or when I do get a commission. That's the other thing. I don't get commissions all the time. Anyways, so that kind of gives you some insight into what we deal with here. But being, again, transparent, whenever we hit the road, and we were at the height, even before we hit the road, before we hit the road, when we were at the height of our channels just firing on all cylinders, Amazon affiliates paying out a bunch of money, we were doing anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 a month between YouTube and Amazon affiliates. And that's a fair amount of money. I mean, that's nothing to shake a stick at. I don't even know where that came from, but that's a fair amount of money. And that's whenever we decided, hey, listen, let's just sell our house. And at that time, I had already purchased a truck and was making payments on it. And we purchased that RV and we were making payments on it. And then when we sold everything, we paid off the truck and the RV and we hit the road. Well, and then we ended up getting another truck, which we in turn traded in the first one and then paid off the second one. So it was nice. I was just shooting those videos. Occasionally we would do a review. And for the most part, we were documenting what we were doing on a daily basis, which is a very easy thing to shoot video on and edit. Because I know that once I have so many videos over so many days covering what I'm doing on a daily basis, that I just need to sit down, edit the video, and post it for you guys. Every once in a while, we can throw in a live video, whatever. And it was nice. Everything was happy in the world. Now, once we were on the road, the revenue that we were receiving changed pretty drastically, to tell you the truth. And we had dropped down to where our high water marks when we were on the road full time, I think was around $4,000 a month. I think we were doing $4,000 to $5,000 a month, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I told Heidi, I said, hey, listen, I'm seeing a pattern here, and I don't see necessarily it turning around, because we were doing everything we could for you guys, thinking that it would change the dynamic of the way YouTube was paying us, the algorithm, and of course, Amazon affiliates. We thought something would happen that was different. It didn't. So it's kind of one of the reasons we were coming off the road. Plus, we were bored with it. It just, more than anything, that's one of the main reasons. There wasn't really a challenge there. We were just in a routine. However, the tail end, at that point in time, I'm starting to think, okay, revenue. I need to start, generating revenue. How am I going to do that? Because, I'm not one to sit around and go, woe is me, help me, go fund me. This isn't going the direction we want to go. And that's whenever we started coming up with a business model for all these products that were being introduced to us. And man, that's a thing. Going through, you'd have no idea how much stuff I turned down. Just take everything that we've done reviews on and double it. So you're only seeing half of what we're offered. And even then, we're kind of picky with that. Half. So sometimes even, I'd have to say, actually, you see less than half. You probably see a third of what we're offered. Yeah, probably a third. So our business model changed to where we're like, okay, if we do reviews on products and those products can then in turn become tangible, that might work on some level. But you got to remember that sometimes we're negotiating with these companies and they're not just giving us product, we're purchasing it. Like I have a bike that's being delivered. I'm sorry. No, not the bike today. I have another bike
I think it's going to be shipped here. Because you have to sign contracts. And they even said they want to make it clear that you indicate that you've bought the bike from Amazon, which we do. Sometimes we buy them. What they do is they say, we're going to give you a discount code if you're going to order within the next few hours. I'm like, yeah. And they give us a discount code, and we can purchase a bike that's normally $1,000. We can maybe purchase it for $300. But we have to use this discount code, and it's only good for like an hour. So that's kind of some of the things that you have to do. Some of the bikes are sent to us gratis, but with a lot of stipulations. Signing these contracts, you got to leave videos up for so long. We have to do follow-up reviews. We have to submit shorts to them to be used on their website. We have to submit high-quality pictures in our Google Drive account that I've got to pay for extra storage for all that stuff. There's a lot involved, but in the turn, we'll generate income from the turnaround of the units of the bikes, or whatever it is we're reviewing. Sometimes we're reviewing stuff that we're going to use and we're going to keep, which cuts into the business model. So the thing that we have a problem with is now that we're not dependent on that money that's coming in. Heidi's back at work. I mean, now that she went back to work, it's like, I don't need to do any reviews on any of this stuff, but that money that's coming in is nice. What I would like to do is get away from the reviews and get to where we're documenting what we're doing more and become a more project RV channel like we used to be, because I enjoy doing that stuff. Some of the product is nice to do projects with, and I enjoy that part of reviews. But man, I hate doing reviews on products that I may not necessarily use, right away. I'm looking around and I don't see anything that jumps out at me that I could say, oh yeah, like for example, like I did a review on a jumper pack the other day. Well, I have a jumper pack. How many times do you need a jumper pack? But I did need one to put back in the pole building in case the tractor didn't start up in the winter. That way I could just keep it back there, and although it's a lithium battery and it shouldn't be that cold, it'd be all right. But yeah, stuff like that. Again, I don't really see anything that stands out. The other thing that we need to do, Heidi's excited, and so am I, because we always have had yard sales all of our life. Now, where we used to live on that busy corner, we raked in the money. Every time we had a yard sale, every 3 years we would have a yard sale. We would make at least $400 for 3 days on a yard sale, at least. I know that's not a lot of money. And a lot of people say, who wants to go through all that hassle for just, hey, I'm getting rid of stuff. We're getting rid of stuff. We're getting to meet people. It was a lot of fun. And Heidi, of course, works retail. So she does that every day. This way she gets to work retail and she gets to keep all the money. But yeah, we definitely need to do a yard sale, but we got to see, I guess we need a permit out here. So I don't know how that works. I mean, does the permit last for, 3 days, a week, 10 days, the whole month? Are you allowed to have a yard sale multiple times during the year? We never had that. We always had just like one yard sale. But if the weather's right and everything, is really decent, we've had yard sales that, have lasted 4 days. Most of the time not. All right, I've talked enough.
What a beautiful day, and my cold is slowly going away. What else can I say about this beautiful day? I had to do some projects on the truck, which I was talking about on my other channel. I put those vent visors on because all my trucks have had vent visors. I'm very used to that. And then we did this. Look at this. So it doesn't fall on Heidi. Nope. Nice, huh? I'm not sure why this one strap, when it's all the way extended, look at that, still floppy. The other one's tight. Dandelions are popping up everywhere. The neighbor has already mowed his yard. I told Heidi, I said, this is the first time, which is, it's a good sign. I said, this is the first time in our history of us owning homes that I have not been the first person in the neighborhood to mow the lawn, which that's great. I'm glad somebody else likes taking care of their lawn just as much as us. But the thing is, my mower, I didn't change the oil. I didn't sharpen the blades. I didn't do any of that. And that was something that needed done. You know, this will be the third mowing season that I've had that mower that I haven't changed oil nor sharpened the blades. Good morning, YouTube. And it's a wonderful day. A little breezy, but a wonderful day. I think it's 59 right now, and the high today is going to be, I don't know, 60 something. We had some rain that moved through, so the grass is really wet, and it needs mowed bad. I don't think that I can do that today. I don't think I'll be able to do it tomorrow. I think the next day after that, maybe. We're supposed to have 3 days of dry, but early day for Heidi getting off work. I've got a fan running in here still. I'm going to go ahead and open this up, let it breathe a little bit. Let's try to do this little latch ordeal. Yeah, I did it one hand. I don't know when they changed this, but I do like this idea. Every RV in the past, you've had to open up the screen to get to this part. You hear it squeaks a little bit. I need to squirt a little silicone in there. Now the awning goes out relatively quick, but boy is it slow to get in. I'll tell you that right now. Let me take a peek here, make sure I'm doing it the right way. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's okay going out. It does a good job. Not extremely fast. And it's kind of hard because we've had brand new RVs these last couple, units that we've had, so I know what a new motor should run like. And we'll just go ahead and keep it like that. The awning is in relatively decent shape. It just needs cleaned really bad. I don't see any tears. I don't see any thin spots. You could see where it's been rolled up for a really long time. How it's kind of contorted there. But I'll tell you what, it's feeling really close to, normal RVing. Do you guys have any problem with your mail? For whatever reason, at the old house where we used to live, nobody wanted that route. Probably the neighborhood had something to do with it. And we always had different mail carriers. Now, we did have one mail carrier there for a while. It was really good. And then she went on to do something else. Well, the problem that we have is, and I mean, the post office makes it their problem by advertising. If you guys don't know, you can see if you've got a package coming or mail coming. It's called USPS Informed Delivery. Same with FedEx, same with UPS. I think UPS calls it My Choice or something. And if you sign up and go through the routine of getting something, code sent to you in the mail and all that crap, you can see when packages are coming or when mail's coming. And in this case, they said, oh yeah, you have 3 envelopes that are, 3 pieces of mail that's going to be delivered. And that was yesterday. Well, I didn't get them yesterday. I mean, the mail ran. So they make these little boxes that you can flag that says, I did not receive this piece of mail. Ooh, look, Mrs. Universe just came in. I think she likes her car. She's bragging to me on the way. It don't even have enough miles to really see what it can do. And she's like, it's getting 40 miles to the gallon on the highway. Which, that's good.
My car's dirty.
Your car is dirty. But what kind of gas mileage you getting?
About 38 miles a gallon.
Yeah, that's you didn't really travel any highway. 11. I guess that's a highway, sort of.
Yeah. I got
Something important?
I got a bug sprayer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, I made it almost all the way home before these fell over.
So are we able to drink this or no?
But anyway, it was cheaper for me to buy the spray. I opened this because it's so you can pour it in there. Because these were $17 a bottle for the squirt. You know, not this, like this. But they were $17 a bottle. This was $10.
Well, those have sprayers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Forget that.
Yeah. These are $7 versus $16.
Heidi's smart.
I don't know about all that. I wouldn't go that far.
So how you feeling? You see a new floor mats? Ooh, I wanted to point out. This is just like we had on that Kia Forte that we bought. What year was that Forte? I keep on forgetting.
23?
2023 or 2022? It was 2022 because the Celtos was 2023. But anyways, the floor mats are
Nice.
they're I can't really describe it. Let me take it off of this and you'll see here. Okay, so low light, it's a little better. But yeah, this thing is nice. It fits like a glove.
It's almost perfect.
Yeah, they do some kind of crazy laser fit, and it goes up the back here and tucks in under the trim and goes over the hump. And if you guys are interested, text Heidi. Send her a message. Say, hey, where'd you get that at?
This mat off a little.
I seen that. I did see that.
I wasn't feeling the greatest when I put it in there, but
That's all
I can
right.
pull it back out. And
It's because the
we
seats
didn't
fold.
attach any of them, which is nice.
It's because the seats fold.
Yeah. I just need to shift it over, it looks like, a little bit that way.
Yeah. So we've. You did?
So hamburgers, if we wanted to cook them.
Maybe later. You know what I want to eat?
What?
We have leftover pizza.
And ribs.
I have leftover ribs, and I have a leftover taco, a soft taco.
Well, I'm going to probably have ribs.
Ribs, right. I just realized that guy probably did know that this thing leaked. You see how that gutter, the rain spout, the downspout extension, you see how it's pointed kind of down? I know that the camera angle is deceiving, but it is pointing down. That guy mentioned about 3 or 4 times, do you think it could be from that rain spout? And I'm like, I don't know. Why does he think it's due to this rain spout? It's because when he rubbed his brother-in-law's whatever, tree, RV, I think he rubbed his brother's RV, he pushed in this siding. I don't know if you can tell that, but it's pushed in. And if you look, that downspout no longer points down, it points level or even up slightly. So the water that runs off the roof comes out that spout and then runs right down underneath of it and along. Man, I think he knew. I think he definitely knew. Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to RV Daydream, and a couple of things. Another warm day today. We had 63 degrees, 64 degrees yesterday. And today we're in the mid 70s, and tomorrow we're going to be in the 80s. I need to mow the lawn, but I'm waiting until tomorrow. We need to have each one of these days that it's sunny and dry to help dry out the lawn. The second thing, I'm almost back to full health. I still lose my voice, still have a little bit of a sinus thing. I got to blow my nose a lot, and I have a tendency to cough. But you just seen that clip that I was talking about. And I have a feeling that I was taken, and I don't like that feeling at all. The fact that the guy seemed to be so honest about the RV, he kept on saying, take another look at it, make sure you take a good look at the RV and everything. It was like looking back that he wanted me to find that. And the thing that I can't explain away is those two, and you guys have talked about it in the comments, but it's something that Heidi and I's already discussed, and she kept on hounding me when I first talked to the guy and told him about the problem.
I said, listen, I said, I'll tell you right now. Let me just tell you what happened. When we found the problem, I told Heidi, I said, listen, this guy wants to know if I got it back to the house safely, towing it and how it towed. Can you text him and let him know that I got back fine, but we did find a problem with the RV and it's pretty substantial. Is there something that he might be able to help with? And that's exactly how she worded it. Well, at that point in time, he started I didn't know there was anything wrong. What's going on with it? And I told him, I said, water came in and it's been coming in for some time. I didn't know. I said, there's a hole in the floor. And I sent videos and pictures. Actually, I sent them to Heidi and she sent them. And I said that, the floor's gone. The corner is all destroyed. And he's going on about, well, I didn't use the RV and, last year, but one time. And I didn't use it the year before. And, that's fine. But Heidi kept on coming back. I wanted to believe him. I really wanted to believe him because I don't understand lying, tell you the truth. If you did something that you're embarrassed about, well, maybe you shouldn't have done it, but at least come forward with it and say, yeah, I didn't realize it was that bad, or I don't know. Just tell me ahead of time. Our Terry camper that we bought with the owner telling us, yeah, the roof needs a lot of repair. It doesn't leak anymore, but it's so patched up there, that you're going to have to do work on it. Well, I still paid exactly this, the price he was asking. And it's because I knew that I could handle the repair, which you saw that on the video. And it turned out to be a good thing. Turned out that got us into RVing. Turned out that you guys got to see content of me replacing that roof and then remodeling the inside of the RV. So it's not a bad thing to have a problem with, a car or vehicle or something like that. And I've hardly ever gotten taken. I was trusting this guy a lot. And the fact that I bought it with the idea that here it's just something that was sitting. And he played me like a fiddle looking back because he was saying, oh yeah, it's here. If I sell it, I sell it. I'm not worried about it. It's just here in storage. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. The guy, we talked about putting a deposit down. He's like, no, you don't have to put a deposit down. When you're ready to come get it, just let me know. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool. This guy here, he was in the Bahamas, so we couldn't see it for a couple weeks. And now that we got a chance to see it, he's cool about it. Just, take a look at it. And if you like it, let me know. And because of all that, I'm like, I'm going to pay what he's asking for it because I had priced out those RVs. And in this area of the country, that type of floor plan and being so small and being able to be pulled with like a Explorer, like my son-in-law's Explorer is rated to pull that thing. Now granted, he's got, an all-wheel drive EcoBoost thing, but still, the fact that can be pulled by, SUVs, Suburbans or whatever, that's a very popular type family type little camper, or even for a couple, like in our case. And the prices on that was the cheapest price that I found for that year, that new of a model. And the fact that it goes up to $12,000 for ones that are just 5 years newer than that. That was, everything on the surface looked really good. And then when I was talking to him, he's just, yeah, it's here. If you want it, great. And I again, that no pressure sales, I was thinking this is a great deal. This guy, he's not coming across like he has to sell it. And this is nice. I found something that Heidi and I liked. We looked at it and, everything was good. Everything was good in the neighborhood. Let's just say it that way. But once we found that problem, he started, I didn't know that was going on. Well, I'll pay for that to get that taken care of. Well, I'm sure he didn't mean, oh, just drop it off at the any RV shop, and whatever the bill is, send it to me and I'll pay it. This is where things got a little weird, because we came back and told him, listen, the repairs on this based on an RV repair shop that comes into Heidi's work. She told him roughly what needed to be done. And then we had taken it to an RV shop that guy runs that's not that far away. And he said that with labor and everything, you could run up to where it might be into like $3,000. Well, I knew that I could probably do it cheaper. And just for peace of mind, I told that guy, I said, listen, how about $2,000? You refund us $2,000 and that's it. And he's like, okay, I'll repair it. Just don't beat me up too bad on the price. I'm like, well, I'm not. I'm actually doing it less than what it should cost at the RV shop. And I said, okay, I'll go ahead and, do you have Cash App? Now this guy's 60. Oh, I don't know. He's 60 some years old, 67. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange. Cash App? I mean, I've only used Cash App a couple times myself. We've used PayPal a few times. And we use Zelle a lot because Zelle is attached to a lot of banks. And we're like, no, I think I have a Cash App account. Let me look. And I did. So I went ahead and gave, Heidi sat next to me. I said, here's my information for Cash App. Just tell them to send it to the Cash App. Okay, I went ahead and sent that to you. All right. Okay, cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. And I go, well, he goes, did you get it? I said, no, I don't have anything coming across. And I said, it looks like that it could take, up to 24 hours, depending on the banks and all that stuff. Oh, okay. Well, let me know. Yeah, I didn't know that was late. And he went right back to it again. And he mentioned something at that point in time, because I told him where it leaked at. I said it was coming in that corner trim piece through the sealant that has dry rotted, it's just got, needs replaced. It needs maintenance. And he said something about that downspout. I just blew it off. I'm like, I don't know. That seems awful stupid. What is it? How's the downspout going to cause that problem? So, we didn't get the money, and Heidi contacted him the next day through a text and said, hey, Michael just let me know that money didn't go into his account. And he hasn't even got a notification that it's pending or anything. Well, then that guy started commenting or texting Heidi back saying, well, I'm going to tell you right now that, you bought this as is, and that seems like it's an awful lot of money for a repair. And Heidi says, well, we were told that it was going to potentially be $3,000 in an RV place. We're trying to save money, you money, by doing it ourselves. And he's like, yeah, it's I don't, and you bought that as is. And Heidi's at work, so she just sent a thing and said, call Michael. And then he replied, why? And then I called him immediately. I said, hey, Bob. I said, hey, my wife just advised me to give you a call. Yeah, he says, listen, that's as is. And I said, Bob, I said, you had to have known this thing was bad. No, I didn't know. I said, I can't explain. I said, that's what I'm hoping. I'm sorry about that. I said, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that you didn't know. For just humanity's sake and people lying and being deceitful, I hope that it's an honest mistake. I said, but I can't explain one thing away. Why did you have those big ceramic tiles laying back there over the only hole in the entire RV in a walking area? Well, I told you it's for my dog. I said, how long have you had that bowl sitting on? I said, first of all, Why would you put a bowl of water and a bowl of food on top of a ceramic tile and then another ceramic tile right next to it? I said, when it doesn't make a difference if that water and that food gets on the floor. It's a vinyl floor. It's made for that. You can wipe it up just as easily as you can off of that ceramic tile. I said, it's not going to stain the floor. And he goes, well, that's just the way I had it. And I said, if anything, the water will go in between the two tiles and then sit underneath of it. You'd never know. Well, no, that's not it. I've had that there forever for my dog bowls. I said, well, here's my other question then. If you had it there forever, why isn't it in the pictures that you posted on Facebook Marketplace of your RV for sale? And he hesitated for a second. And then he said, oh, well, those pictures were taken a while ago. I said, yeah, but you told me those tiles were in there forever. So what was it? The tiles were in there forever? Or you took those pictures forever ago, even further back? Well, no, I didn't know that was like that. And he says, I think it probably ran down that spouting. And I'm like, I don't understand, again, the spouting thing. I'm just, at this point, focused on the repair. And he says, well, that's as is. I said, Bob, you know Pennsylvania has lemon laws, right? Well, lemon laws, it's used. That's a used item. I said, those lemon laws apply to everything and everybody, including private sales. And he said, well, that don't make any sense. I said, well, it's pretty clear. I said, I can easily prove, if I have to go to court, that you knew about that hole and that damage. And the lemon laws clearly say if the seller knew, then that's an easy win for me. Oh, I don't think you want us to go to court. And here comes a part that I can't talk about. And it all has to do with pricing. And I said, Bob, you're going to tell we go to court, you're going to say that I didn't pay that much for your RV. I said, what about when you and I walked into the bank? And I said, we both talked to the teller. I'm sure they have cameras in there. And it's going to show me hand you an envelope with a lot more than $2,000, $2,500 in it. And it's going to be able to show on your bank statement that they subpoena that you made a deposit that was greatly larger than what you're saying. And not only that, but I've got receipts from my withdrawal from the bank and how much it was. I said, so if you want to do that, we can play that game. Well, you know what? I just don't, I'm just be done with it. You want me to send that money over? I said, yeah. And I said, but you already sent it over, right? Yeah. Now, if you get two deposits now, if you get $4,000, you better return that $2,000 to me. I said, I don't even think you sent me any money. I said, the fact that you're saying that you're going to send it to me makes me think you never had intentions to send it to me in the first place. No, I sent that. I said, well, I don't have a pending. I don't have nothing. And he goes, okay, I'm going to send it over again. I said, and he confirmed my information again, exactly as I told him. And within 3 minutes, that money was in my bank account. 3 minutes. I'm sorry, the Cash App account. And then I transferred it to my bank account, and that took all of, 2 hours, I think. So that's crock. That's a crock. He knew. And now that I look and see that downspout, the one thing that he mentioned like 3 times, I look at it and I'm like, holy cow, that's how that water was running down the RV and getting in. And this is where you're going to see the vengeful side of me and the pettiness that I harbor. He's older than me. He'll be dead before me. What he did, karma will feed it back to him, and hopefully soon, because that's no way to go through life. That's 67 years old and doing that kind of crap. I can't believe somebody's so hard up for money. if you should have never, ever let the RV get damaged that way in the first place. That's just you being lazy. Bob in Pennsylvania. That's all the information I'm going to give you on that, but he can suck it.
Well, can you believe it? It is still really warm out, which I'm shocked. And today has been a high of 70 something. I don't even know what it is. Heidi came home and then she took off because I needed fuel for the mower. I needed to do some work on the mower, but the neighbor decided to do their yard, and I thought, well, maybe I'll do mine. Here's the thing. Most of these neighbors that are around us, they're not doing their backyards. And the reason is because the backyards are wet. I mean, they're really wet. However, although ours is wet, I think my zero turn will handle it. But yeah, she mowed her. She got stuck there, and then she just quit mowing. She only mowed little bits and pieces. Oh well, that's what happens whenever you have a regular rider. And not saying that this thing can't get stuck, because I did get it stuck in the ditch over at our other house. I'm not sure why she felt as if she had to mow our yard on that side of the driveway, but whatever. I don't know how that's going to work out when we're going to put up a fence there.